So I am here with my client Mary. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
And Mary's going to be sharing her experience of the Sober Sisters Rise to Freedom private one-to-one coaching program. So, Mary, tell me, what were you looking for right before we started working together?
Well, what I was looking for is one, literally needed someone to hold my hand because I felt like I was just kind of like out there flailing. I was ready for change, but trying to do it on my own, I felt it. I kept hitting the restart button, kept hitting the restart button, kept hitting it. And I was tired of hitting the restart button, but I needed something to help kind of launch me and pull me into that new arena. And so I was literally just surfing through Facebook and I found this and it just kind of like felt like a really good pair of shoes to fit.
Mhm.
And that's when I think it was in the early wee mornings of like, I think it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. I just took a chance and messaged you. I just kind of felt like it fit. And it did.
Oh, I love that. And is there anything that almost stopped you from joining Rise to Freedom?
Um, I think too, for me, I'm a very private person. So the act of like kind of putting out your challenges to someone else. And I think a lot of it, comes with like pride and ego come into that too. Not so much for me. I'm not, but there is an element of that. Um, Kind of like, oh no, you can do this on your own. I'm like, nope, self. It's okay to ask for help. And I think especially, as a mom, an entrepreneur, kind of, it's a little hard to admit or to seek help. But it's very comforting once you do, once you kind of overcome that hurdle.
Mm, yes, yes. And what was your first impression of Rise to Freedom?
I felt like I finally had a, a private place just for me to go to, and also it was very comforting in a way to see how many other people had very similar challenges to me. So I wasn't alone in that quest, in that journey, my struggles, within that. So that was very kind of comforting. It's like, oh, we kind of have a little bit of a family that understands and very non-judgmental.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, it's lovely to have that kind of that space, that understanding. And
It
so,
is, and
yeah, I would love for you to share, Mary, a few of the results that you've received since we've been working together.
oh my gosh, there's so many. So establishing a very healthy self-care routine, and prioritizing that too. It's the reminders of what I found worked, didn't work, and also suggestions and recommendations for other things. I would never have found Joe Dispenza had I not met you. You know,
Mhm.
just like wait that those things are important. Understand myself through learning about like the archetypes that we talk about, being able to identify and understand the meaning of those things have been big for myself as well. And then the continuing nurturing of those. So not just like, oh, it was a good idea, and then letting it fall off the plate. So the reminders, the action steps. Because I find too, for me, when I start a process, I think, well, like for most humans, it's easy to fall back in our old habits of doing things. But knowing that, kind of keeping accountable, and checking in, and also just sharing in the joy of how those new discoveries have helped,
Mm.
really, really adds into kind of that space and helping you stay with, within those new healthy kind of boundaries. And it's not as scary to explore those things when you have someone there with you.
Yeah, and it's been so lovely to watch your journey and to be a part of your journey and see these, these results that you've been having and just be a part of that. It feels, it gives me so much as well because it
Oh,
it shows things in me as well. So yeah. And any breakthroughs that you've experienced, maybe that you didn't anticipate, any.
honestly, like a lot of things for me is um, really like understanding like how deep myself is, if that makes sense. And how much that I do have here, like within myself, and then I can reach into. Because I find too throughout the day when we're constantly giving ourselves to others, and being a cheerleader for others, that we can in turn, have that for ourselves too. But coming back to the group, more importantly, it's a place that you can come back to. And when you see people cheerleading other people, you're like, yes, okay, I can do this. I can do this. So I think not realizing how much I needed that. And like I said, when you're a giver to other people, you don't realize how much you don't accept that from other people just because you're so used to giving it out. So that's been kind of a big breakthrough to me. It's like, no, I do need that. That is a big part about keeping me going. By just being like, I don't need that. I'm just give it to other people. So
Wow. Yeah, that's huge. So, Mary, who do you feel would be a great fit for Rise to Freedom?
I think anybody, honestly, I don't think there's a type for it. You know, I think there might be a moment, but I think for people when they feel kind of that urge for change, but don't know like how to make it happen, I think this is a great place to help encourage that change. But it's also accepting too when you know you don't get brandished when you stumble either,
Mm,
right? Which is important to say. I think a lot of people when they come into like groups or processes, especially when you talk to sobriety, and within that, it's I mean you're not going to be perfect, and that's what I love about your story. When you put it out there, you're like, I'm not perfect. I mean, this is a big challenge, and it's really helped. So knowing it's like I have a place I can come to and be like, you know what, it didn't quite work out this time. This week was not awesome. And be like, but it's okay. How can we make it awesome again? So I think as far as the type of person, I don't think there's a type. I think it's knowing that there's a place you can go is just comfort in itself. Knowing that when you're on this very challenging path, there is a place to land that will help you through it.
mm. And thank you for highlighting the imperfect kind of action of the journey, because I think so many people often think, I've got to do this, I've got to be perfect and amazing, and it's just not like that. We have to be realistic. So, uh, you know,
Well, well, I think it's important because a lot of things that I've heard, or just saying even felt when you talk, not that any of the organizations, there's always positive things with them, but one in particular I've heard, like AA, I hear this a lot when people talk about that, like when they do, and it probably depends on the group too. I've never participated in AA, but if they do make a mistake, a lot of the sponsors will just, abolish them,
mm,
so it's very, um, a lot of negative experiences I've heard from that. And that we are going to stumble along the way. So being able to have a place you can come back to, and you're like, you know what, I was not awesome at this. So that imperfection, you know, and being able to have a place where you can feel safe admitting that and go back onto those, healthy habits is very important.
mm,
I think that's what Sober Rise to Freedom has. I felt that from the beginning too. There was no backlash, no abolishing or abandoning people along the way because you didn't do it our way type of thing. And you didn't do this, and you have to do this, 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 and this. It's kind of like you make it fit very much for the person and help them find their way.
mm. Yeah, thank you. And so, what words of wisdom can you share for anyone that's thinking about joining Rise to Freedom, but maybe they're just overthinking it a bit?
I would say just tell yourself that you can, and also it's okay to just put your toes in the water.
Mm,
Like you don't have to be like, I'm going all in. Yeah, we're just doing like it's great if you want to do that. Like jump in the pool, come on in. Uh, but it's okay to kind of audit for a while and see how it fits. Um, uh, just just kind of ease your way into, and I think that's where you offer so many different levels and availability with it, that it's not just like one way or the other. It's not just all in. Um, and I think at least what I found is the more you kind of like looked and you're like, oh, I want to participate. I want to post. I want to, share my challenges because it's just such a very open and welcoming thing
Mm,
that um, just it's almost like you don't know the flavor of the drink until you try it, like a
mm.
new tea or something like that. And sometimes just about take a sip. And so don't be afraid
Yeah,
just to
I love that.
yeah, just to take a sip and see. And it's okay. Like you don't have to sit there and put your whole life story on there. Some people do that, but to each their own. Um, so just try it. Put your toes in the water.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mary, for sharing your experience. And it's been so lovely working with you, and I look forward to the rest of our journey together.
Yes.
So
I
thank
do too.
you.